Greetings, everyone. It's time for another stream, but this time it's a bit different. You see, I'm back home, sweet home. I'm using a different setup right now, so it's kind of a different, different view of the thing. So I have a lot of things that I've used back when I started streaming. So I feel like the resolution is also different from uh, the usual streams. So this one is actually the old one, and also using the old microphone, which is arguably better or at the same level as the usual one that I use for basically every stream that I did since ever since I started. But hopefully it's not that bad. It's not that distracting. That is different or that has like a different volume. Can't really check that, so I'll have to look for that later. But overall, is it's supposed to be closer to the mic that I usually use. So yeah, let's continue. So last stream I was working on uh, filtering good and bad ideas. So I was like looking at my notes and trying to see if some of them made sense. Kind of. Oh, I'm actually impressed. This did change. What? Interesting. I had no idea. Okay. Anyways, um, this one's a good idea. Setting here is also different, so bear with me. Welcome, Eve. Welcome. Morning, chat. Morning. It's the bull market. It's the bull market. This is the bear market. Bear market and bull market. Bull market and bear market. Finances? Yes. Yes. How do I even do this? Can't believe I made it to the stream this early because I was staying all night long. This early? Well, it's kind of. I'm kind of over time right now. Yeah. I'm currently in a different place, so it's a different setup. Not really sure if my voice is a little bit different than usual. The thing here, uh, when I alt tab, there's a different message, which is the old message. Hopefully, it's the same quality as usual. If it's lower than usual, please tell me. Or if it's higher than usual, I don't think people will notice that. Do you have any recommendations for some small practice daily to improve on anatomy? I don't. I don't do them. I don't do them. So I don't think I have anything uh for you. But I'll try to give you some directions. So recommendations for some small practice daily to improve on anatomy. If you don't know the basics, like the parts of the body that is, the name of what the arm, the forearm, torso, the rib cage, or whatever names of things uh, that people usually use. I think that's a pretty helpful one because then you can uh, locate things uh, easier when you actually study in depth. And I would recommend you to study a bit deeper than just small practices, but um, so you can just have some mileage on, like, how can I describe it? Like, to practice a little bit, there has to be something that is a bit more consistent and fundamental, so you can practice. It doesn't make sense to practice your own incompetence. That's how I would describe. Uh, you could practice the way that you understand anatomy, but it doesn't mean that it's correct, or it doesn't mean that it's related to the way that people perceive it. It's basically practicing the way that you perceive it, that you perceive it. So, um, so in my case, I studied anatomy in depth for quite some time. I did some like uh, anatomy studies. I'm not really sure if you were here back when I was streaming and actually grinding stuff. So I'll take, where is it? There's like a file here that is supposed to be uh, grind stuff. Quest studies. Let me gesture grind. Guess it's this one. So this one, I did a study on stream about anatomy. So I basically did a skeleton, the muscles, the names of it. I don't think you need to do that unless you want to be a bit more uh, detailed. Overall, I think you could study the major muscles and bones that all people would certainly have some use later in life. But overall, I feel like if you're not good at producing uh, like shapes or like good boxes or good circles that could represent uh, anatomy, then it's kind of trying to trying to go against the current, right? Because you are fighting the anatomy knowledge, but also the problem that you can't really make good lines that could represent the correct anatomy. So let's say, oh, so this one is a reference, right? So there's like a huge line here, a very long line just for the forearm. Then you have like three lines here that is describing the side of the thumb, and then two lines here for the inner side. So that is basically describing the whole shape of the forearm and the thumb. And if you can't really make those lines uh, like consistent and clean, you might have some doubts on producing them, producing the forms of the anatomy, and that is not like related to how good you understand anatomy or how you're practicing anatomy. It's just how you actually make the shapes and lines. So um, I feel like the small practice is to see if you could make that anatomy as simple as possible with lines that you could read and make up the shape, make up the form. That's kind of a long answer, but usually what I see is that when making like forms like this, I just want to simplify most of the shape. You can see that this one's kind of sucks because there's like a lot of lines here, bundled up, like it's bundled together. Um, but sometimes you get like effects here that it's kind of interesting. You just place a line on top of another line, but the overall shape is proportional and it has like a direction, and that comes from having a little bit of confidence and like perception of forms and geometric shapes that comes from a more like a lower level instead of actual anatomy. If you want to practice like small anatomy stuff, maybe just gesture drawings, because then um, it's more about the impression rather than being correct. And I feel like most people would be more impressed by how dynamic it is instead of how accurate it is, because I don't think people would care much if it's like impressively uh, accurate to anatomy. Sometimes it kind of looks weird, and it has a context, right? If you're drawing a style that it kind of requires you to draw kind of realistic, a body that is realistic, then you have to represent some of the muscles and some of the features of the body that is kind of a hassle for anime, or like anime style. They usually simplify those shapes, just like some stuff here. Man, do I have anything here? I mean, I did some studies, like small notes about the direction of some of the features. So there's like the bottom of the knee patella aligns closer to the apex point for calf. The inner side doesn't need curve for muscle volume in most cases. So it's kind of straight, right? It's just a straight line here, but you could also add a little bit of a plump here. It has a direction here for the knee and the shape of the calf. So there's like forearm, arm, whatever. So like a lot of small pointers here. And yeah, I think I took some time here, so can't really say that it's really small practice. Hmm. Um, it's just that you could have you kind of have like two choices here. Either make a practice that is a span that spans like a week with the same intention, that is to go in depth of like uh some element here of the body, whatever you want to focus on, or you could do like small studies that are like that are like complete on its own. um Usually it's just the type of job that you have to make yourself, you know. It's not like it's not like I could say, yeah, you could get like a muscle and then study the muscle little by little, or just do like gesture forever every day. It's not exactly like that. I don't think that type of study, that type of practice is useful for the things that you want to do. And instead, you have to make it so you apply the things that you want. So everything that I've done here was like kind of a structural struggle of making some of the features uh of the legs, and the lack of knowledge about the muscles here uh that are making the arm. After learning more about the muscles themselves, I realized that I could make shapes a bit easier. It's not correct, but but it's way easier right now. It's kind of easier to make up or kind of give that impression that it's correct, even though it's not. Hmm. So yeah, I don't really have like actual like small answer for that or small practice. I just have a long answer. But I feel like a recommendation is make it so you're drawing something that you like, and then you realize that some part of it, anatomy wise, looks bad, and then just go improve it. That was the exact way that I improved most of my drawings. I was like doing some fan art. And I realized that my hand was kind of bad, so I just redrew the hand a lot of times until I got it right. Um, what else? Fuck, little fly here. Sorry about that. Yep. Hmm, it's gone. Thank you. The way you explained it seems easier to understand. Can't quite understand most tutorial vids though. Um, for me personally, I was like listening to most of them, even though I didn't exactly know what some of the things meant. But after a while, most of the content there is replicated and it's kind of the same thing over and over again. So if you check them and check others, you kind of know what's the most used strategy there, or just uh, the most important landmarks, you know. But I won't recommend you to just stay there. I would recommend you to do whatever you want and identify what kind of struggle you have uh, with anatomy. What uh, you could use like a reference to like gauge how good it is in a in like a uh, if you're like dealing with like the limbs like this. Maybe you could look for a reference that has something like this, right? So you have I guess this one's not that good. Where's it? Fingers. Maybe this one? Nope. The biceps. There's the triceps. Achilles is around here. I don't think I have the name of this one. Oh, brachioradialis here. That is from the what is it called? Where is it? It's here, right? Yeah. The This is the brachioradialis, biceps, triceps, later, flexors, flexors, forearm. I don't remember if the flexors are the ones that are like connected to the pinky or the thumb. You see, it's not like I remember things. Um. Oh yeah, brachioradialis is supposed to be on the side of the thumb. It's basically connected to the radius bone that comes from the humerus and connects closer to the thumb area. Yeah, it's so you have I don't think you have so the brachioradialis is supposed to be here on the thumb side, and you have the flexors on the other side here. So you would have here, this is the shape of the brachioradialis, kind of bulging a little bit. You have the thumb here, and you have the flexors here. So that kind of stuff you could do, but it kind of requires you to think more than the usual, just draw and copy. It's just kind of a logic coming from a reference that is not really like close to the thing that you want to analyze. So you have a reference here that is saying some stuff about muscles, and then you try to identify for your own stuff. I used to do that a lot, and I still do that. So it doesn't mean that you need to look for. Oh, quiet. Doesn't mean that you have to look for the exact pose of this arm here on the internet. It's more like getting some kind of information about the muscles and try to uh, conceptualize this, project this to your drawing. That's also like a pretty good exercise. Use like a reference. Let's say, let's use this reference here, and then let's use the concept of this on this one. See if the measurements are consistent with the other ones. So it's kind of a cross referencing that is not really trying to copy them as it is more like understanding the fundamental thing about the elements about the arm here. So the arm is bent, but it has like a ratio of how long this arm here is and how long the forearm is, and you have to measure on this one as well. That kind of stuff. It's a kind of a bit more convoluted type of practice, but I think it would be quite useful just because you can get a lot of mileage from different type of references. So you don't need to use a reference that looks exactly like this. So if you want to draw like a big S here, you could try to think about like a front view like this instead, and try to see if there's like something useful that I could use from the shape of this, like the what it's called, the the hip the hip bump here. I could try to make a hip bump somewhere here, but it's kind of hidden from the wings here, by the wings, so it doesn't matter, right? The shape of the thighs here. This is a front view, but this is a back view. Maybe I could try to make like a more like a pear shape. This that's thick. So that kind of practice comes from analyzing a reference. Uh, Hopefully it's a good reference that has a proper anatomy that you want to study, and then uh, and just go back with your own stuff and try to correct them. So you can see that this is quite straight, and then I just made it a bit rounder just because I used a reference that has a rounder shape here, that kind of stuff. Uh, yeah. What else could I say? Don't think I have anything else to say. Getting tired as well, so saving advice. Hopefully, it's a good one. But it's more about logic and how you would analyze things and adapt that to the things that you want to draw instead of actual like small practice daily routine. It's more like trying to be um a bit more attentive to the things that you draw and the things that you struggle with instead of going for like a yeah, let me study anatomy course 101 and then I will solve every anatomy issue that I have with this drawing. But the problem is that anatomy 101 won't fix your problems. They will give you more questions because that's by design, because you have to solve those questions. And then the problem that you have with your own drawing that you want to fix is still there. You didn't really make progress to research that. Maybe the course didn't really touch on that specific part of the body or didn't explain in depth on this angle that you're on that angle that you're drawing. So kind of depends. Hello, Kingslayer. Welcome. Do you ever feel unproductive some days? every day. Every day I'm unproductive. What do you mean? I haven't been streaming consistently. Do you really think that I'm that productive? I didn't do a lot today, to be honest. That's fortunate, but you already have like the next day. I'm gonna keep repeating this advice when I'm doing practice, alright? Just think about your own practice and if you can uh if you can use it for the thing that you want. I think that's the most important part. If you don't need it, try to make a situation where you would use it. Like perspective. If you want to be a bit more daring, you could try to draw anatomy with perspective, but then you're just trying to mesh like two things that are like quite complicated together. But it's kind of a challenge. So you start to see things that are quite fundamental from perspective of a good artist, like knowing perspective or knowing how to color, how to draw good forms, good shapes, uh, to the things that you actually want to draw that doesn't require all of that knowledge. And you have time for that. It doesn't mean that just because you didn't do for like a day or so, it doesn't mean that the other day would be as unproductive. It's just that you have to control your emotional state, uh, and how you expect things. And if you don't really expect much, you just draw. If you don't expect much to be like productive, you ended up being like more productive. I think that's the secret. It's like, yeah, I didn't really expect me streaming right now just because I'm out of town. I'm back at my parents' home, that kind of stuff, and I don't have the proper setup to do a proper stream. But at the end of the day, I'm just doing it. And do I actually feel productive? I think that's the analysis that is after the fact. 'Cause right now I'm just doing things and I don't really feel productive because I have a lot of things to do. Like overall, I will look back and I just say, yeah, I just streamed and I just did things and drew things that I think it's valuable for me. And it wasn't like, and I didn't really feel like it was productive, but it was after the fact. So those days will pass so freaking fast that it doesn't really matter. Your um your analysis of being productive is just after the fact. And it's not like you're helping yourself by doing that analysis, anyways. It will just make you feel bad and just give up on the things that you want to do. And then you just come back and then you realize how much time you wasted by having those bad emotions. And that's exactly the thing that you might need to work on, which is the frustration that comes from incompetence and uh building motivation that is outside of people telling you to draw or like motivations to be like financially successful or whatever. Try to build like an actual genuine motivation of, yeah, I want to do this. Like it. I like it that way. It's not easy. And it's not everyone that can do that, unfortunately. But I think you can plant a seed on everyone that you can possibly do that in due time. It's just that it might not come uh, when you want it the most. That's exactly the thing that I've been struggling with and that I have to sacrifice. So if I ever feel unproductive every day, every day, but does it matter? The grand scheme of things? No, it doesn't matter because I have a larger commitment to do this, and I don't really care if I miss a few days or so. I'll come back. Do I have anything here to draw? Great advice. Good night. All right. Hmm. Great advice. Thank you for being here. Yeah. I'm about to end it. Close to end it. I'll be streaming for like 5 more minutes, or just waiting for the thumbnail. I'm just looking at my notes right now, and some of them are like mostly like narrative instead of things to draw. They're like quite important ones that I have to think about. Uh, it's pretty late at your place, isn't it? I mean, I can still spend some time here. It's just that sometimes it's not that uh it's not that great to stay here streaming for so long. But it's not necessarily late. It might be too early, be too late. No, I mean these ones are pretty good. Yeah. This one is actually quite good. This one, this one. Two paths. Right. Hmm. I have no idea how to. Hmm. Yeah, guess it's time to make the thumbnail. I just place this strategically uh, placed thumbnail just as a joke. All right. So yeah, I still need to make uh, other notes. I was just talking with a friend, so I was like kind of typing stuff, chatting with my friend. So that's why I was like kind of not doing much. But I still have a lot of things to do for the notes here. Uh, my for the ideas that I have here. Honestly, I should try to categorize them as like lore stuff and kind of a miscellaneous stuff. But maybe I should do that later. I guess I'll just kind of highlight things that I think it's quite important, and then later I'll do the proper fine screening for the story itself. That's great. My GNG is fast asleep because it's 3 a.m. at my place. I see. Yeah, I'm about to end it. Just doing some stuff here. Yeah, next stream. Maybe another good and bad ideas again. It's just that I have to screen through a lot of information right now, just so I can make the story. Um, But I think I'll have to work on this again, just uh to retrieve the things that is kind of lore relevant. Forgot about that. There's like some stuff that I wrote here that is a bit more like a description of how things should turn out. More fun sketch then. Hopefully, there's like a lot of notes that I didn't really remember. But some of the things that I drew here was already like implemented. So not sure if I have to necessarily draw them again. Because this time I just drew the backside of the wings again, just because it's fun. It's fun. All right, I guess that's it. Thank you for watching, everyone, and bye bye. Bye bye.